Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and I have two special students with me here today. We have Henry Blaylock, a senior at Norview High School, and Samaya Sam, a senior at Granby High School. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to have you on the show because you all recently won something very special, and it's called the Gates Millennium Scholarship. So Henry, tell me, and then you can add on to Samaya, what is the Gates Millennium Scholarship?
The Gates Millennium Scholarship is how I would describe it, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity provided by Bill Gates and his corporation that allows students who normally wouldn't have the chance to go to college at a low price or basically for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to me, the Gates Millennium Scholarship is an opportunity for minority students who otherwise without the money wouldn't have a way of paying for college. It gives them an opportunity to go to college and experience college if you had all the money that you had to pay for college, which we do, which is a blessing.
It is, and I know you're at Granby's first Gates Millennium Scholar. I know that's exciting. Mm-hmm. I know Mr. Daughtry was happy about that. And for you, Henry, Norview every year seems to have a Gates Millennium Scholar. So that's great. So tell me, the both of you, how did you hear about the scholarship?
Do you want to go first?
Well, I've heard about it before I was a senior, and people told me, oh, you can apply for this. And then I heard about it while touring Howard University. There was actually a Gates Millennium Scholarship recipient there. So she kind of encouraged me to go and apply. And so I talked to my counselor. It was a little last minute, so everything had to be done quick. So that's how I heard about it. And so I immediately tried to apply for it. Mm-hmm. Despite the stress I was going through with IB, it was just something that needed to be done.
Right, right. How about you, Henry?
As you said earlier, Norview has had several winners, so I knew about it coming into Norview because people talked about it a lot. And actually, the 2014 winner Harvey Waters, he was my friend, and so he talked to me about the process and everything. So.
Right. So tell me, what's the process for applying? You said you were in IB classes and trying to apply. What's the process?
Well, first you just have to, you have to apply, you actually have to fill out this background information, FAFSA, make sure you file FAFSA, that's important. And then it got down to the nitty gritty. You had to write 8 essays, all up to 1,000 words on different topics, about your life, how you've overcome certain obstacles and what you plan to do in the future. And so I like to write, so I just put my thoughts all up there. And so I guess I did great, so.
Yes, you did. How about you, Henry?
Yeah, the same. I started my application in the summer after it came out. So the essays that she spoke of, which I put a lot of time and effort into those. I finished most of those before school even started. But I also needed to get my teachers to write the nominee and the recommender. So once the time came for that, I asked them to do it. They did it. Wonderful teachers. Miss Arroyo and Miss Desiraju, wonderful people.
Wow, yes, I'm familiar with Miss Arroyo. Yes. So how did you feel when they made the announcement? How did you find out that you won?
Well, my package was a little late. While everybody was receiving their packages, mine didn't come, and I guess it was a mail issue. So, I was kind of discouraged. I didn't get it, but when I found out I was a finalist, I immediately started crying. And I congratulated and thanked my nominator and recommender, Dr. Zakowski and Ms. Gardner at Granby High School. And after that, when I found out that I had actually won it, it was just a relief, and my family was proud. Yes. And then I've just been congratulated ever since then. And it's I hear it every day.
Really?
And people asking me, what do you plan to do? How does it feel? Where are you going to go? And it's just I'm living up to the standard now.
Yeah, and you got an answer for every one of those questions too. How did you feel, Henry?
I was very, very happy and ecstatic. I was a bit surprised because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to get it or not, because I heard this is such a prestigious award that not many people, you wouldn't think that you, a normal person, would be able to get it. But I was extremely happy and grateful for all my teachers and my family and my friends that are there and supported me.
So tell me, both of you, what do you plan on doing with the scholarship money? Where are you going to college?
I'm going to University of Virginia.
I'm going to East Carolina University in North Carolina.
Okay, what are your majors going to be?
I'm planning on majoring in aerospace engineering.
Exercise physiology is my major.
Wow. So you've spoken about some great teachers, counselors who help support you with this. So what do you think you're ready to do when you graduate? Do you think Norfolk Public Schools really prepared you for graduation and for college?
Yeah, I think I did. I think it did. It prepared me for the hard workload and all these opportunities that it gave me, like these volunteering opportunities, working with teachers, working with other students, mentor. I think it's prepared me greatly for the college experience.
I definitely feel like NPS has, prepared me, because ever since I was in elementary school, I've been placed in these prestigious programs, such as the Young Scholars Program at Ruffin Academy and the International Baccalaureate Program at Granby. So I feel like, and that's a worldwide organization. So I feel like I've definitely, the stress they put on me is definitely enough to get me through college.
And so winning this Gates Millennium Scholarship has just maybe taken to the moon and back.
Yes,
so,
so
two questions. What do you feel the best advice you could give someone to apply for this scholarship?
I would say just work your hardest, and in the essay, just be honest, because that's what it takes. You just have to show that you're willing to do the work and you are who deserves this.
And all throughout high school, get involved with your community, with your school, be that person, be well-rounded, have all the qualities, work hard, be dedicated, just have it all and just want it. That's all you have to do.
And so personally, that you've won this award, what does that mean to you? Is this like your bucket list, this one thing you've checked off? And accomplishments?
Yes. I think this will allow me to achieve my dreams, and well, not achieve them, but it definitely helps me get there so I can work on achieving them. This is a great motivator, because in the future I'll be like, I got the Gates Millennium, I just can't let these people down, and everyone who supported me and believed in me, so.
Right.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like I have a duty to serve. This is my job. I've been given the opportunity to make a difference, so that's what I'm going to do. And family has, my family has always had a struggle with money, so now that that's not an obstacle, it's I don't have a limit. It's just do what you want to do. Do it how you want to do it. You have the opportunity, so do it.
Yeah, and I understand the scholarship, you can continue on to your master's and
can
your
apply for
doctorate, so
Yes.
what a blessing.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, thank you both for coming on the show and sharing with us your excitement and joy for winning this great Gates Millennium Scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio, we have a special guest, Rick Wire from Dynamite Sports. Welcome.
Thank you.
Rick, we have you here to talk to our school system, to coaches, counselors, parents, and student athletes about college recruiting. So before we get into that, talk a little bit about the background of your company, how it got started for everybody.
Well, really, it was when my oldest son Coy was young, he just showed a lot of athletic talent, and I thought, gosh, what am I going to do to help him if this continues and he gets to be a really good athlete when he gets into high school? You see, I didn't go to college like a lot of parents, and I didn't know anything about college or anything about college sports or recruiting. So what I did was I talked to other parents where I lived back in central Pennsylvania who had kids that were being recruited, highly and not so highly recruited, and I just asked them what they liked and disliked about the process and what they would do different if they could do it all over again. Basically, I took all the information, put it in a big pot, and I stirred it up and created a blueprint for my son Coy. So when the time came, I could help him achieve his academic and athletic goals for college, whatever they turn out to be. And so that's really what got me started. He flourished as an athlete in middle school and high school and was highly recruited in football and wrestling in Pennsylvania. And then he ended up with 6 Division I offers by April 1st of his junior year, which was back in 1996. So that's when this really started, the early recruiting stuff started. And he ended up choosing Stanford University.
Okay.
And he had a great career there, and he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills in 2002. He ended up playing 6 years with them and 3 years with the Falcons, and that's really my story. But the thing is, Steve, softball parents, female lacrosse parents, female basketball parents, they don't want to hear about football. They want to know, what can you do to help my daughter achieve her academic and athletic goals for college? And so the programs that I created and the events that I do are really for all athletes in all sports.
Okay. So the goal, when you do present to the counselors and coaches, let's talk about that first.
Well, high school counselors are really good people who care about kids. But there isn't a high school counselor in this country, in any high school system, that has enough hours in the day to get done what they want and need to get done on a daily basis. And I know that. And most administrators know that as well. And so when it comes to NCAA and NAIA eligibility, let alone recruiting, they're not very knowledgeable because they just don't have time to be knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. So I have a program called A Counselor's Guide to Academic and Recruiting Success. That it's about a 45-minute program, and it teaches them all the new NCAA eligibility requirements that went into effect this year and also in 2018 for sophomores for Division II. And then I also teach them a little bit about recruiting. They don't need to be experts on recruiting, but I think it's important for a counselor to at least have some basic knowledge about what an unofficial visit is and those kind of things, so that when they're helping kids that want to play sports in college, they'll have some background on that. Coaches, pretty much the same thing, except they're not as involved in the academic end as they are the recruiting end.
Yeah, so with coaches, you know, they're out there doing their thing, but
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do they get the college recruiter on their campus to see their athlete?
Well, I don't really know that it's the high school coach's responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
Although some coaches are very proactive with that respect to that. I really think it's more for the parents, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think coaches should at least be knowledgeable, especially about recruiting and how much it has changed in the past 5 years alone, let alone past 20. And I think they should also have some basic knowledge about NCAA eligibility. So when they have some kids that are recruitable for whatever level, they at least have some background knowledge with respect to eligibility and recruiting, mm-hmm. and so they can be more helpful to the parent and to the kid.
So as far as the coach's responsibility, you know, they need to know obviously both the X's and O's part.
I think so.
And then the NCAA guidelines.
I think it helps.
Okay.
I mean, they don't have to be experts on the eligibility part like the counselor should be, but I think they should have some basic knowledge about academics, just like I think counselors have some basic knowledge about recruiting. Mm-hmm. And I think between the two of them then, if they have that knowledge between them, it's a much more effective situation for the kid.
Okay. So over the years, I mean, we've all been involved in athletics, and you were able to create this blueprint for your son. Mm-hmm. But for our student athletes mm-hmm. and for our parents, what's the message that we have to get to them in order for them to be eligible mm-hmm. and to find these scholarships?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, you're going to find this hard to believe, but there isn't a parent alive who doesn't believe their child at least has the potential to someday be a Division I athlete. Maybe not here in Norfolk Public Schools, but everywhere else I've been, that's the case. So first, it's about being honest and realistic about their kids' talent and abilities. Secondly, the academic end. A counselor and a coach can harp on academics to a student athlete, but if it doesn't come from home as well, if it's not made to be a priority, like mm-hmm. for instance, if they're studying for an exam, no cell phone, no PS Game 3, no video. There's got to be priorities, and especially if they want to be a college athlete. So I think being proactive with your child with the academics and making it a priority will only pay dividends when recruiting starts. The other thing is starting early. So many times I hear parents say, I'll ask them, have you taken any visits yet? And they'll say, oh no, my daughter's only a junior. I'm like, oh my gosh. College coaches are offering juniors and sophomores even today. Recruiting has gotten so early. So a big thing is starting early, visiting schools as early as 9th grade with your kid, I think is really important. And then I think the last thing would just be understand that it's got to be your child's decision. So many times we see parents living their dreams through their kid. And you see it a lot in youth sports today, which is a whole other subject, right? We could do a whole other interview on that. But I think you see that a lot today, parents trying to live their dreams through their kid. And I think it's really important that parents understand this has to be their child's decision. because it's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. The choice of school that they choose to go to, the college, will have a huge impact on their lives for 40 years.
Okay, so going back a little bit, you mentioned unofficial visit, official visit. Talk a little bit about that so the student athlete has some clarification on that, along with the parent. Go in depth for that.
There's 2 types of visits when it comes to visiting colleges. There's unofficial and there's official. Now, most people would tell you that official visits are the most important because they're the ones that the colleges offer and pay for. But I disagree. I think the unofficial visits are the money visits. That's where I think the family makes the money or finds the money. And here's why. When you go on an unofficial visit, the college coach isn't even allowed to buy them a soda pop. And that's not the good part. But they are allowed to give you 3 free tickets to a home sporting event, and you don't have to wait to be invited. I didn't. The Wire family, this is no joke. We saw 15 big-time college football games. All I did was pick up the phone, called 15 Division I football coaches, and asked them for tickets. For all they knew, I had the next Walter Payton in my living room. Mm-hmm. What was it going to cost them to find out? Just 3 tickets. Why did we take so many? I wanted Coy to see as many types of colleges, campuses, and facilities as possible, meet different types of coaching staffs, so that when he found the right fit, his heart would tell him, because their heart will never lie. And then, for me as a parent, the games. They put us on the sideline for the pregame warm-up before the football games. So Coy got to be, 10 yards away from a Division I tailback. He got to see how ripped, athletic, fast, strong, and quick that kid was. The reason that was so important for me as father was I needed Coy to see what that looked like.
Right.
So that if on the way home he'd have turned to me and said, "Hey, Dad, I can't be that." Well, I would have said, "It's okay. I still love you, son. We're just looking at the wrong schools." Now, the official visits. Okay. Official visits, they're pretty important. These are the ones that colleges pay for. They happen their senior year. And typically, if a college coach offers a student athlete an official visit, they're dead serious about this kid. If they haven't already offered them, they're probably going to on the visit. You can only take 5 of these, though. Not 5 per sport, but 5 total. Only 1 official visit per school, and they can't last more than 48 hours. But the nice thing is, on these official visits, they can wine you and dine you. When we took 15 unofficial, but Coy chose to only take 1 official, and that was to Stanford, because he had decided early on that was the place for him. And Stanford, they had a big tent for a luncheon by the library, and Condoleezza Rice sat at our table. I mean, those are the kind of things that happen to you on these visits. So again, the official visits, they're important, and yes, it says something about the college's interest in the student athlete. But again, I revert back to the unofficial. I think that's where a family can really do a lot of good work and set the tone for everything.
Okay. So, for the parent, and this is the parent question, they have a recruitable athlete.
Yep.
What determines a big-time recruit versus just maybe a Division III, Division II? How can they be realistic with their son or daughter?
Well, in some sports, it's kind of easy. First, we'll talk about size, okay? In sports like volleyball, basketball, and football, size matters. So if your kid's a lineman and you think he's Division I, but he's 5'11", Division I standards for recruiting, 6'4", 280, run a 5'1", 40, bench 320, squat 450. They're not walking the halls of every high school, but that's a Division I lineman, okay, out of high school. So in sports where there's height and size, they're kind of easy. Let's talk about track and swimming. It's all about time, speed, distance. If you have a daughter that swims the 100-meter freestyle and she swims it in so many seconds, you can go on the internet and see what Division I and Division II athletes are swimming them. If your daughter's swimming them 10 seconds slower or even 5 seconds slower, she's not going to be able to swim. Right. No Division I coach is going to recruit her, okay? So in those instances, it's easy. But all the other sports, it's kind of subjective, and that's where parents get into a tizzy because you just don't know. I would just say this. To be able to tell if your son or daughter can play a higher level of sports, first of all, you have to see what kind of commitment they have. If they eat, sleep, and drink that sport, and all they talk about is 24 hours a day, that sport, that's probably a good sign, because that's what it's going to take to get them through the injuries, the lack of playing time, the roommate they hate in college. That's what will get them through those things if they go to a D1 or D2 school. So I think that's pretty important. And then ask the student athlete. Some parents think their kids have the potential to be a Division I or II athlete, but if they ask their son or daughter, how committed are you? How badly do you want to play in college? And if the kid doesn't say, oh, it means everything to me.
Okay. All right, so to wrap this up, tell us, what is the best way, and you can promote your website here.
Okay.
The best way that a parent and a student athlete can become educated in this recruiting process?
Well, my website is dynamitesport.com. And it's a pretty good website, and although we're rolling out a new skin for the website on June 1st, but it'll still have the same material. You can actually view my seminar on the website, and it's broken down into 19 sessions. So if you just want to see the section on eligibility or unofficial visits, you can click on that and watch a 3, 2, 4-minute video. Same thing with the new website. The new website will have an online recruiting academy that's free to join. And when you sign up, it'll show a student athlete will watch a video, 3-minute video, and then there'll be a quiz, 4-question quiz. If they don't get all the answers right, they got to do it again.
Okay.
So those are some of the things. The other thing I'd highly recommend, and I'm just plugging my book, but I have a book on our online store. It's called The Student Athlete in College Recruiting. It's $20. It has every sport. It's not a football book. It's an every sport book. It has all the eligibility requirement information, recruiting rules and regulations. It has the recruiting standards for every sport, height, weight, those kind of things. And in the back of the book is a listing of every college in the country by alphabetical order and by state and what division each one plays at. You can order that on our website, and I think that's a great tool as well.
Rick, a lot of good information. We could
Thanks,
obviously be here a long time.
Yeah.
But we thank you for being here, and I'm sure some of our ADs will have you back to present to their student body and parents.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.
We want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or any information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.